Okay, so you're ready to play your first round of Quarriors. So you have your bag, you have your dice. You get to draw 6 of these, just like you're playing a deck building game where you draw cards. Reach in, grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can count. And there. So there. I have my first 6 dice. And what you do is then you roll these, just like, you roll dice, I guess. And we're going to look and see what we got here. Now, I didn't roll anything crazy. I just rolled the basic quiddity, the money, if you will. But I did get lucky, and I rolled a 2, if you can see that, on that particular die. And all the rest are 1s. So I have a total of 7 quiddity to spend. Now, normally, if sometimes you'll have monsters or something like that already in your area, if you will. But in this case I don't, because it's the first turn of the game. I don't have anything summoned already. I don't have anything else out there. But I do now have 7 to purchase a monster with. So from our earlier situation where we had the drawing of the different creatures, I do remember that one of my favorite creatures out there, these oozes, he was 7. So I'll go ahead and buy one of those ooze dice, and I'll place that with those, and I take those and I set them aside, like so. They're my discard pile, if you will. And now, when the next turn comes around, and if it goes all the way around the table, and it gets back to me, I only have 6 dice left, because you'll get 12. So I'm going to take these guys, and now these guys I don't touch at all, so I'm going to roll these, and we're going to have a slightly different result here. You'll notice that I rolled the actual creature for these. These are like this little pawn guy is actually your assistant that you see here. And you'll notice on these particular monsters, you can see there's some numbers here. And I hope you can see this. But there's a 1, a 1, and a 2. The 1 over here is the level of the creature, and that's how much it costs in quiddity to summon that creature. This up here is the attack value of that creature, and this down here is the defense value of that creature. So, since I have 2 possible creatures that I can summon, I can spend 2 quiddity, like this, and I'll put those up here, because I've summoned them. And I will be, those will be like ready to attack any possible other creatures that my friends or my opponents, I should say, may have. And I can have those available, hopefully, when my next turn comes, and I can score those, and they'll be worth glory. Now, I have only 2 left, and the only real thing that costs 2 were these goblins here. So I have 2 left. So I'll buy a goblin die. I'll place that over in my discard. And I'll place these in my discard now. So I have all these dice in my discard, and I have these 2 particular assistants sitting out here. Now, since I've summoned them, what they can do is they can immediately attack everybody else that's at the table that has monsters that are in front of them. To do that, I total up the total of attack value, which is 2, and I apply that against any of the other monsters that are in front of the other players. Now, they actually get to decide who will, accept the attack, or the attack value. And if they're wise, what they'll do is they'll have it attributed to monsters that can absorb those 2 points of damage and not be destroyed. Because if you have defense of greater than the attack value, then nothing happens. So, for example, let's say somebody had this spirit or ghost, if you will, and it's kind of tough to see, but you can see in the bottom right hand corner it has a defense value of 3. So if I attack somebody with this, they would say, well, I still have 1 defense value, so your assistants do nothing, and so he would get to keep his creature sitting in front of him. Now, it's important to note that the monsters that are attacking don't ever get hurt. They don't ever take damage. But, however, if one of my opponents had one of these scavenging goblins, you'll see that they have a defense value, and once again, it's kind of tough to see, and I do apologize, but they have a defense value of 2. And if this is his only creature, and he has to defend with this, those 2 points of damage would, be absorbed by him and he would be defeated. Now you don't lose the die, it just goes into your discard pile. So if this was me and you'd place it over here. But this person then would take this particular creature and throw it in their discard pile, and when their turn came up they wouldn't be able to score this particular monster, because that's the whole point. You want to keep your summoned creatures alive until your next turn so you can actually use them to score points. So let's just kind of fast forward, and let's say before it gets back to my turn, one of my assistants gets knocked off by an attack, so I only have one left. Now when the time comes to my turn, I look and see if I have any creatures in front of me, and I do, and you can see here that the assistant has a cost of 1, and it's kind of tough to see, but they have a glory of 1 too. So I'll take that 1 glory, and there is a score tracker like here. You just move your tracker up. You'll notice that there's different point totals for a different number of people. With 2 players, you play to 20. With 3 players, you play to 15, and with 4 players, you play to 12. So you just move your particular area. So if I get a point, so I move my guy up to 1 there. And then, after you score him, you put him in the discard. It's my turn. Well, I don't have any more dice, so I pick up all the dice that I have there. I throw them in my bag, like so. Shake them up. And now I do my turn again. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and I forgot one very, very important part. This is actually probably one of the most important parts of the game. Let's just backtrack a little bit here. When I had all of these creatures available to me, and like I had that 1 left, let's say, like I said, and I scored him. When you score a creature, you get to do what's called a call. For every creature that you score, you get to basically give up a die. So you can say, well, I really don't need these assistants anymore. They've outlived their purpose. And you can go ahead and you place it back on the card in the middle of the board for somebody else to buy. And so you place it there. But like with lots of different deck building games, your whole thing is about having an efficient bag of dice or an efficient deck. So now there's 1 less die in there that I have to roll. That's a very important part, and I can't believe I almost forgot to tell you about that. So now once again, shake it up. Grab your 6. I got 6 perfectly. So ooh, look, I got the ooze. So hopefully I'll roll the creature. So I take these, I roll them out. I did roll the creature, which is cool. You can see that level 2, so it's 2 to summon him. I rolled a total of 6 quiddity, so I'll spend those 2. I'll summon the ooze so he can attack something. I have, I got 7, I'm sorry, there's a 2 here. So I have 5 left, and with the 5 that is left, I decide I'm gonna buy one of these hags. So I'll go ahead and place it like that. Move those dice over there. I attack who's ever out there with this blob. Goes around. Hopefully this blob is still alive. It's alive the next turn. I score him. I'm going to go ahead and call another one of my assistants. Get rid of that. And this is how the game progresses. Slowly but surely, you'll build your dice bag or your deck into something that the synergy of the creatures and the spells works together, and you'll be able to hopefully attack and defeat your opponents while be able to protect and defend your own dice, so you can score as many points as you possibly can, reach the top level of, if we were playing, say, 4 players, get to 12 before anybody else, and then you win the game. And that's how you play Quarriors. Well, I hope that was informative. Let me tell you exactly what I think of this game.